Welcome back. Let's turn our attention to the front page of the Voice newspaper. It says vehicle licenses up Tuesday. Reference to September 1st, right? That's Tuesday, September 1st. There was a press conference held by the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transport earlier this week announcing that come Tuesday, license fees would go up and that they would now be based upon the weight of your vehicle. According to the information coming out of the Ministry of Infrastructure, and this is not new. The Prime Minister alluded to it during his budget address, that roads, road rehabilitation, road construction is expensive, that drivers need to start paying for the roads that they are demanding. We want better roads, let's be willing to pay for it. I'm just quoting. The PS in the ministry has now said that as of Tuesday, the classes of vehicles, well, the three classes, A, B, and C for private vehicles, the fee structure starts from about $250 to $350. So if you have a vehicle that's weighing less than 1,134 kilograms, you will pay $250. Those from 1,134 up to 1,587 kilograms will now pay $300, while those weighing 1,588 and over will be charged $350. That does not apply to the minibuses, doesn't apply to hearses being drawn by motorcycle, doesn't apply to motorcyclists either, for reasons which the Prime Minister explained during his budget presentation. You were saying that you're not even bothering to protest. Why?
Yeah, one of the reasons is that I have the smallest and lightest vehicle in St. Lucia.
But you're still going to pay more like the rest of us.
Yeah, well, I've been wondering, listening to you, whether when I go up there I have to drive it onto a scale. How do they measure? How is the weight? They go on the registered weight?
Don't the vehicles come with that weight?
Yeah, I guess so, because
I think I have mine
still
written down
can't
somewhere.
read it. All I know is that the argument that road rehab, is costly. Also, I think that the availability of parking space, especially in Castries and around the city, with the increasing number of new taxi stands, where only taxis you can park, and even in cases when they're empty, you're told you can't park. That the question of parking space around the city and the inability of any government to date to get people to understand the need to make use of parking lots. You have those big parking lots. You have the Baywalk parking thing. You have the one blue, not how you call the one in town?
The waterfront.
Waterfront. They're always empty.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what days you go there, but they seem to be very well utilized to me.
Okay, well, I might have. I hope so.
Yeah, because
I certainly hope so.
I certainly have difficulty getting parking at the NIC car park most of the times.
All 5 levels?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and I guess maybe it depends on
I'll
the
look
days
into
and
that
times.
one.
And I'm sure there are people who are working in central Castries, who use the daily service, so you pay a flat fee for the entire day. Because I see some vehicles there sometimes for weeks, so people go away and leave their vehicles there. So I think it's being utilized. I'm subject to correction, but
yeah, no, I would be glad. I know for sure, since I woke up Rodney Bay, I know that the Baywalk one is, very much underutilized, although it's free. It's free.
I don't know. Maybe it's the days that we go there, because every time I go there, it seems to be well occupied. But I just want to draw attention to a point.
Or maybe it's what's the reason? I never have a parking problem.
Because of the size of your vehicle.
The size of my vehicle.
But the PS made an interesting point here, that the government on an average spends $1.5 million to rehabilitate 1 mile of road. And she's saying that based on the projections that they've made, with this increase, what they hope to earn, $3.5 million annually, is not going to make any significant dent in the expectation or government's expense in terms of road rehabilitation. But The permanent secretary, the story says, went on to explain that the loan agreements with the Caribbean Development Bank and the Equity Fund suggest the implementation of a vehicle weight control management system as part of the contracts in order to offset some of the costs at least. But the point that you make about the parking and congestion generally is a significant and real issue. Is actually was a topic of discussion at the gym earlier this week. And I've said it before, and perhaps I can raise it again. Maybe something that we can look at legislating that on certain days of the week, certain vehicles just should not be on the road.
Well, the Chinese had an easy way with that.
The odd numbers?
Odd and even numbers, every day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for even numbers. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, odd numbers. So half your vehicles are off the road.
Yeah,
and you carpool.
The Ministry of Infrastructure and Sustainable Development has been pushing this idea of pooling, but they do it for one week, if I'm not mistaken, every year. To encourage the idea of carpooling. I'm not sure how successful that has been.
I don't think the carpooling thing is something that will be easy here, because people interpret it. You're asking me to give that person a ride, because they don't have. It's not me who make them don't have. The selfishness of people reacting to being expected to give somebody. A fella told me, the fella made us just wait by the road for when I pass in to flag me for a ride. So I didn't stop that morning. Next afternoon, the man asked me if I didn't see him.
Because you're obligated to.
Yeah, because the carpooling thing. In China, China had its challenges too. When they came with the odd and even number thing, given the burgeoning middle class in China, average family just buy another car. So if they have an odd number car, they buy an even number car.
The families that we have here who have more than one vehicle, I don't think it's going to hurt you if 1 or 2 days a week that you can park one of them, or at least use the public transport.
I think the whole transportation, the whole Castries, the whole infrastructure, transport, Castries needs to be revisited. Mr. Bernard Thibbles, an engineer, writes more often now in retirement than before, about commenting on how the city has changed faster than we have been able to grope with the change. John Peters, former chief engineer here, writes weekly and can always recall on those volumes of reports, etc. So there's empirical data that exists for every one of our problems, parking problems, you just name it, there is data. So I think in terms of a plan for Castries, for the next 20 years, 25 years, that's how we have to start looking. There are natural responses to increases in anything. I'm sure if we haven't started hearing the complaints as to why we have to pay more, we're going to start hearing it.
I think we heard those right after the budget address. We heard those right after the budget address.
Okay, but look at another issue: the
tuition fees,
the rising fees at South Louis Community College. The principal was making an interesting point that even with the increase, it is still affordable. Okay? And he tried to explain, as with the PS in Ministry of Transport, that the cost of running the school is more than the income it is earning from fees. And while it is doing everything to ask government and everybody else for more, it can raise fees. Now, in the argument, Mr. Dolo says somewhere that you also have to take into consideration that they are paying VAT on fees. And then, whereas he makes the headline, SALCC students blast fee increase, the National Student Council says students were not given adequate notice. I wonder if students had been given notice, would that what change would that have made? Would it have prevented, they would still have had to pay?
Yeah, but I think the idea is that at least the parents would have a better opportunity to plan accordingly, to budget appropriately. And the question of affordable, who dictates what's still affordable? You know, because I know students, I know parents who sending their children to Southern Louis, and
do we expect to hear anything
no,
else?
but they are working hard to send the students over there because they want to give them a better life, give them an education. They are not middle-class parents. They are hardworking, blue-collar people, you know, who want to see their children do better, give them a better lifestyle than they had. So I think it's an unfair statement.
You've made a class analysis of the students?
No, I'm saying I know people
yeah,
you know,
okay.
who are still scrounging and struggling to just to make the fees as they are.
I know of one case where the poor girl ended up crying because her mother couldn't come up with the new fee.
There you go.
You know, and there are instances like that. But then, what is the response? Don't raise the fees. Look at Barbados.
But you see,
Barbados,
it's just like the issue with the licenses. I think it's a matter of not what is being done, but how it is being done. Yes, the Prime Minister made the comments during the budget address. It has died down. All of a sudden, the ministry calls a press conference and says, in a matter of days, we're going to implement the system. You understand? The same thing with the licenses. The police put out a press release, and then the ministry has to come back and do damage control. I think it could have been handled differently. Similarly with this one, what the National Student Council and the NYC is saying, let us consult.
And the Commonwealth.
Yeah, let
Commonwealth
students body. Let's consult the students, or let's at least, even if we make them believe that they have a voice or their opinion is going to make a difference, you know. But at least, you know, give us time, give the parents time, you know, to adjust, you know, because the $150 that you're dismissing and saying, you know, is still reasonable, you know.
Is there a students? Is there a National Students Council?
It's going to be a big deal for somebody's parents.
Who should they have spoken to? Is there SALCC? I mean, I'm hearing about the National Students Council. Every time something happens, we can refer to a national body. To what extent? Where was the National Council before that? When last did we hear them take action to... No, I'm not being critical of them. I'm saying that institutions, organizations like that, national bodies, National Youth Council, National Students Council, National this, National, there's the people with disabilities, etc. At varying degrees, we tend to hear them reacting to events that will affect them. But between those reactions, the proactivity, for example, I would have liked to have known that the National Students Council would have met with the Sir Arthur Lewis Students Council, and they plan, you know, a combined approach to more than just protest, to request, even demand a meeting with the principal. Listen, can you postpone this thing because we didn't have enough notice? You know, it's causing, you know, to take that proactive approach. But it seems to me that they only took the reactive approach, which is to protest and say, you know, you're making things hard for our parents. That is true. It is true. But I think organizations need to rediscover their purpose and to know that it's like the National Carnival planners. We only hear them springing into action before Carnival and they close shop after Carnival. Where is the review? Where is the planning for next year? You know, we tend to close down from one Carnival and wait until the other one to start talking about the next, and the same things keep coming up. Funding for shows, government subvention, Calypsonians complaining about not getting their money fast enough. But these issues, as one Calypsonian correctly pointed out, it is now part of the hype around Carnival, that, you know, you'll have Roro and you'll have this, and so people see it as part of it. But I think
You're more surprised
with
if you don't have it
with
than
the
if you do.
establishment of a National Festival Commission, which is going to be a full-time, hopefully, it's going to be a full-time thing, because it wouldn't be just Carnival. It will be looking at all of the festivals, jazz festival, carnival, whatever festival. One would hope that that brings a more proactive approach, where we identify what the problems are or can be, and start working on them before they escalate into something.
I agree with you, but only partially. But we are out of time. So
Have we?
Yeah, we are out of time.
Okay.
Yeah, the time goes by quickly when you're having fun. Mr. Busquet, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you for being here today. And thank
As
you
always.
for watching. We'll be back here next week. Hopefully you'll join us then for another press club. Until then, have a safe and enjoyable weekend. We'll be back here next week.